All right, y'all. Shan here, checking in to share with you another technique that I've been using for my spinal degeneration. I had a session here with Brandon, who has a company called Live Once, Live Well. He specializes in myofascial release massage, which is kind of a unique technique. It's not just massage as you would think it in the typical form. Myofascial release massage is known as a mind-body massage technique. So maybe you can tell us exactly why myofascial release over other massage techniques. When should you get it, and why it works with the mind body?
So I want to unpack first that I do like to prefer to just put myofascial release in its own category of body work. It definitely shares a lot of similarities with PT, with their mobilization approaches, other forms of massage, but it's absolutely, when you experience this, it's not massage. It's not going to really resemble that. So I do like to put it into a different category. But it's easy to put it into that category, of course, because that's how we associate understandings for things. And so a lot of people are going to find myofascial release most beneficial if they're in chronic pain. If you've tried, years of physical therapy, years of chiropractic, years of acupuncture, years of massage, and just kind of given up, and you're thinking that there's nothing else to do. All your doctors have said we can't find anything, nothing's wrong. We can't see anything in your CAT scans or your X-rays. Well, myofascial release is probably going to be something that people can find benefit to, because we're working with the fascia, and that's what massage therapies and chiropractors don't really. That's not their focus, right? It's a different concentration. We're concentrating on the fascia.
Totally. I think that's a good point rolling back, is that as a physical therapist, I've had many patients who get imaging and they're frustrated because they're in debilitating pain, not just pain, debilitating pain, where like you can't get up out of bed, and they've been told that nothing's wrong with them. But there's things that are hidden that you can't see on these imaging, so imaging alone is not diagnostic. And that could be a whole nother rabbit hole and a whole nother video. And the point of this video is just to share more about myofascial release, but also maybe open your eyes to a technique that could help you, if that's you out there with chronic pain, or you out there with, for me, it was the chronic degeneration in my spine that was just like giving me these achy kind of feelings, and this sort of release that helped to find that space that I needed. How many treatment sessions do you suggest? What would it look like? Do I just come once, come when I can?
Yeah, I mean, healing takes as long as it takes. It's typically more of a marathon than a sprint. The event or events that took place to get you to where you are in the dysfunction may have been instant, but it may take years to heal from it all. So just ballparking, it's a good idea just to plan on whether it's myofascial release, physical therapy, acupuncture, stick with something or plan on a year. Because life is going to happen, and at least you have a plan that you're going to be seeing a therapist next week or tomorrow when a flare-up happens, not if, when, and that way you always have a plan in place. That said, you'd be looking at anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week to start, depending on how quickly and your condition you want to get better. A lot of people that I see are on once a week, and some people are once a week, and then we can vary from once a week to every other week. So the ultimate goal is getting you beyond your realization of how good you can feel.
Totally. I think that's a great point. And I think putting in there the time frame that healing, when you allow the body to heal naturally, not with surgeries, not with things, typically those conservative or alternative, whatever label we stick on things, they really do take a year. So I think that's a helpful mind frame just in general. Yeah. And diving more back into myofascial release, is it something that people should be getting preventatively? Can I get it before I'm already behind the bus? And is it helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. So say you have to absolutely get surgery for something, because thank goodness we have that in our medical field, surgery. You know, things break and tear, and having surgery is good. But say you're planning on getting surgery, but you're well enough to still get treated, myofascial release can help prep the tissues, the fascial tissues that they're going to be cutting into and repairing pre-surgery, and then after surgery we can then get back to releasing the scar tissue that's built from any surgeries and stuff like that. So it's pre and post tentative.
Yeah.
Post tentative, preemptive.
Preemptive.
Yeah. As well as so like even for your degeneration of your discs, you know, we may not be able to regenerate, right, without invasive surgeries, but we can prevent further degeneration from happening by creating more space, elongation in the tissues, healthy glide, and better function elsewhere, not just the site of the symptoms, but elsewhere in the body, so that you can keep, you know, doing backflips and stuff.
Totally. And I think that that's really important to be said, that there's so much reactive, we're reacting to care versus being preventative. And I think getting preventative care before you have a surgery or before you just do another year of life is huge. They also say that myofascial release is nonlinear, and healing is nonlinear, is a part or something that's studied within that field.
Yeah.
Can you kind of dive and pull that apart? Like, what does that mean?
Oh, it could mean a lot of things. I think the very first thing that's coming up for me as far as healing is not linear is pretty close to like that time frame of a year, right, of healing. A grief process is I think a great example for healing. There's going to be a moment, say you fall and you break your kneecap. There's going to be a moment of extreme pain, uncomfortableness, feeling like you don't associate with somebody who has a broken knee, how inconvenient this thing is. Frustration, anger, disassociation from your own body. So like the pain and trauma that we experience is not a straight line. Our bodies are not linear. So what's really different about the myofascial release approach that I offer is that we're not stuck to a certain structured protocol, because the body doesn't understand protocol. It just understands that I either am in pain or I'm ready to get better. So we like to think that healing's not linear, and association with the body is not linear. So it's going to be a process. There's going to be ups and downs along the healing journey, just like there's going to be ups and downs in a grieving process. But like a grieving process of the loss of a loved one, you may never get fully healed, or it's not like you're ever going to forget that the thing was there. But there's change that's happening, and that at least you're not staying stuck. And that's really kind of the key is not staying stuck and completely accepting and giving up that this is what I have to live in. This is not the state that you have to live in. There's other ways out.
Totally. And I think with that comes with just like this idea of flowing. Like you want something to be like a river, like a waterfall, that you're continually moving through a process. Maybe it doesn't end, maybe that process is continual, but there's no stagnation. And using myofascial release and moving the fascia, you're keeping that water content and things moving. And this video, me and Brennan constantly go into like nerd out sessions where we can make it super long, but I really just want to keep these videos short, but keep them also just as opportunities to share maybe options. What do I do? This is where I'm at. And I think by sharing these stories, we can all better learn like, what are we collectively doing versus what is the media telling us to do? Well, these are real people with real experiences, just showing things that they've tried. And I realize in diving into that, we could take a whole nother video to talk about the science of what the heck is fascia. If you're sitting there and you're like, don't you massage my muscles? Like, what's going on? You know, what's a joint mode? What's it versus like what I do when I mobilize joints, or chiropractors do when they pop your joints? Like, what's going on with that? So we'll save that for a whole nother video on like what the heck is fascia. you know, you also have a good friend, Google, check it out. You could dive into videos there. But the last question that I want to have for Brandon is maybe more on a personal level, but like, why did you get into myofascial release and your personal story?
Yeah. It could be a long one too. I'll keep it short. Basically, I was in massage school and I was introduced to myofascial release, which I didn't know was like more of a traditional style of myofascial release that you might receive from a chiropractor these days. But I knew that was something that I wanted to pursue as a specialty outside of massage school. And you know, life happened, and it took me on a different journey, a different path right after massage school. I still held my certification, but I finally went to a John Barnes myofascial release seminar, and that changed everything, my whole trajectory, my whole offer. And why is because it actually helps people get better, and that's what I enjoy the most about doing bodywork.
Totally. So that's it. That's all. It's myofascial release. So Brandon's here at Live Once Live Well in Santa Cruz, California. But I'm sure you could look up John Barnes if you want to find a professional who's trained by that particular expert. That's my story, and that's Brandon's.
Thank you.
Cool.